This is Tammy, and today I thought we would talk about dining on board a Disney cruise. Food's always a hot topic of conversation on cruises because you've heard all the stories, you go on a cruise, you gain 15 pounds. And I'm not going to say that you may not put on weight, that you will not put on weight, because it is possible you could put on weight because the food is abundant and amazing. Now, it's not all there is to do on a cruise like some people have thought for years. Like if I go on a cruise, that's all I'm going to have to do is eat. That's absolutely could not be further from the truth. But the food is abundant, much more abundant than you are used to having at home probably, and it is good for the most part. There's some of it that's so let's talk about the food on board a Disney cruise. Okay, we're going to talk about 5 different kinds of food on board. There will be main dining in the main dining rooms, which are the dining rooms you expect to find on a ship. The buffet, which is very popular among cruisers, of course. Pool deck food or quick service food is kind of what you're used to in Disney speak, if you're familiar with the parks options there. And room service and upcharge dining. And the upcharge dining is just for adults. Okay, let's talk about main dining rooms on a Disney cruise. Disney invented a new concept here for cruise lines, and other cruise lines have followed suit on this because they did realize it's a great model. On cruise ships of old, you would go to dinner each night and sometimes lunch and dinner in a very large dining room. Everyone ate in there, usually very pretty, very elegant dining rooms, but everyone ate in the same place every night. Disney decided they were going to change things up and invent 3 different experiences for you to dine in on your Disney cruise. 3 different dining rooms, and sometimes the experience in those dining rooms will change, but 3 different dining rooms on each ship. You will rotate through those dining rooms, and it's called rotational dining. The rotational dining experience was new to the cruise industry, as I said, and lots of people have followed up on that. Many other cruise lines will do the same thing now. But Disney did realize that people loved getting to know their serving team, and it's a great opportunity for your serving team to get to know you and your likes and dislikes. And I would say your experience may even get better through the sailing as they get to know you better. What they did was they decided, what are we going to do if we're changing dining rooms every night? And what's going to happen to our servers? Are we going to change servers? No, your servers are going to rotate with you. So you have a dining number, table number, and your servers will be at your table each night in whatever main dining room you're assigned to. Now, you're not going to know which dining room you're assigned to or what your rotation through them is going to be until you get to the port and log into that app to see. You can make requests, however. And if you say you wanted to do upcharge dining on night 2, so you wanted to make sure, but you really, really were excited about Marvel restaurant, well, then what you would do is you would call and request Marvel on the 1st or 3rd night of your sailing, so you didn't miss that. And Disney does try to accommodate those requests, but they're not guaranteed. I will say that it really doesn't matter. It's completely personal preference on those. It's a great experience no matter what rotation you end up in. Main dining on board is free or included. You're not going to pay extra to eat in these restaurants, in these very nice restaurants. Very few things that you could add on and pay for. There are some cruise lines where you'll pay more for lobster, you'll pay more for some very nice steaks. That is not the case on Disney Cruise Line. All the food is included in those dining rooms. You could pay more if you wanted to add alcoholic drink or a specialty drink on board inside the restaurants. That would cost a little bit more, but in general, everything's included. So the different experiences on the 3 different classes of ships. On the Magic and Wonder, they started out with Animator's Palette, and Animator's Palette is a really neat dining experience. And on the Magic and Wonder in particular, it's a black and white restaurant that will turn colors as the night goes on. Now, I will say that experience has been tamed a little bit. Not only did the restaurant change colors, your servers changed their vest at some point during the night, and they were in different colors, and it was really, really neat in the beginning. I think it's still very neat. I wish they'd kept some of those things, like the servers changing their vest. I love those, but it's a neat experience. That's on the Magic and Wonder. Also, Lumiere's and Triton's, they are very similar experiences. It's a nicer, more formal feeling dining room, even though not really a formal experience necessarily. And then Tiana's and Rapunzel's. Tiana's and Rapunzel's were both added later after certain restaurants didn't work out as well in the Magic and Wonder. So they added Tiana's to one and Rapunzel's to the other. It's a live show. It's very fun. If you are fans of those princesses, it will be a highlight for you or your children. It can get loud. It can get hard to talk to your table mates in there anytime a live show is involved during dinner, but there's lots of music, there's some dancing, there's some things to do with your children. There's some characters walking around, Tiana, Rapunzel, and Flynn, based on which restaurant you're in. They're very fun experiences. I think they're very successful change from what they used to be, but they can get loud. So just be aware of that. And you may or may not have the best views. Some tables have great views. Some tables have okay views. So just be aware of that. Okay, so on the Dream class ships, meaning the Dream and the Fantasy, they also added an animator's palette. They took it a little bit different direction. And instead of the restaurant itself is not black and white at all to start with. It's very, it's animation style. It's like you walked into a studio to start animating something. And I think I really love the look of those two restaurants in particular. And they brought on the Crush, which is a interactive show where Crush swims around the dining room and through various screens talks to the diners as they sit and enjoy their meals. And they're really talking to the diners. If you sit there and you hear Crush say, hey, you in the red hat, and you think this is pre-recorded, it's not. They're talking to you. So answer them. They also have a show called Animation Magic, which is one of my favorite shows on board. I, as an adult, did not think I would be very excited about this, and yet when it happened the first time, I could not believe how much enjoyment we got out of this. But you will sit down right away, draw something there. There'll be a placemat there for you to draw on colors or markers, and you'll get to pick how you want to animate yourself or your character that you're drawing. They'll give you instructions on how to do it, and you'll have to do it pretty quickly because then you turn it in, and while you eat, they will be hard at work in the back animating those characters that you drew. And the show, the end of dinner will culminate in a show of your characters dancing to music and through some animated Disney movies. So fun. Now, they went back and added this to the Magic and Wonder versions of Animator's Palette as well. I will say, though, you're not going to have it unless you're on a longer cruise because they want to make sure everyone gets a chance to do it in addition to the normal Animator's Palette show, which will be Crush for the Dream and Fantasy. So, Turtle Talk with Crush. So, if you're on a shorter sailing, don't expect it, but longer sailings do, and make sure you don't miss it. It's one of the most fun nights in a restaurant on board, I think. Okay, second, they also have Enchanted Garden on the Dream and Fantasy, and Enchanted Garden is meant to feel like you're dining in a garden. It's a very pretty dining room. It's very enjoyable. I always like eating in there. And then the third option is Royal Court or Royal Palace, depending on which ship you're on. It's the more formal feeling restaurant, more princess themed, subtle princess theming, but golds and very nice restaurants. They feel a little bit more formal. So that's the Dream and Fantasy. The Wish class ships, all of them have their more formal feeling restaurant would be 1923, which is full of Disney memorabilia. Some amazing Disney memorabilia, actually. It's fun to take the time to walk around and look in some of the cases to see what all they have in there. That is their more formal feeling. They also have Marvel on all three of those ships. Marvel has two different shows, so depending on which ship you're on or how many nights your sailing is, you will get either a Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy show where he will come out on the screens and talk to you as well, and they'll also play trivia during dining, which I thought that was a fun touch. Or you'll see an Ant-Man show with Paul Rudd. I don't know where I got Adam. Paul Rudd. That's a very funny show. It can get old if you've seen it many times, as some of us have, but it's a really cute show. They did go back and add Spider-Man to it later, and Spider-Man, spoiler alert, Spider-Man does make an appearance at the end of the show out in the dining room, comes around for some quick hellos in the restaurant. The little kids get very excited about that. So Marvel's a fun one, especially if you're a Marvel fan. And then all three ships have a different live show experience. The Wish has Arendelle. All three of these restaurants, let me say, it's like a theater in the round. So the stage is in the middle, the tables are all around the outside. Because of the support beams inside the restaurant, some of the tables have a pretty poor view of the show. So there's not much you can do about that if you have a very bad view. But if you're up close to the stage, you'll have a great view. And if you don't really care that much about seeing what's going on, you certainly can hear it from anywhere else. In fact, it will be a little bit quieter on the outskirts of the dining room. It's a Frozen show, very cute Frozen show. They have a wonderful segment of Let It Go. I think their version of Let It Go is my favorite, and it's very popular among the princess fans, Frozen fans in particular. When the Treasure came online, they took the same concept. They did move the serving stations out a little bit, so the sight lines aren't quite as bad. They're still not perfect. There's still going to be some without great views. But the sight lines are not quite as bad, and this is a Coco show. And there's 2 different nights of Coco shows. And both fun. I think the second night's a little bit more entertaining, it was for me, but it's Mexican food, delicious. That is Coco on the Treasure. It's also a don't miss for me. I enjoy both nights in there. And on the Destiny, same thing. I think the sight lines are even maybe a little bit better, but certainly the same as the Treasure. Some tables are not going to be great. A lot of them are going to have very, very good views. All of them can hear. I don't think with Pride Lands it was quite as important that you see the show. It's I like to call it a highbrow Lion King version. It's super talented performers, but there's no characters or anything out there. So maybe not as important that you see, and you will be able to hear anywhere in the dining room. So those are the 3 different versions there. And that is the main dining rooms. Oh, no, wait, before I go, let me say those are open for dinner, and you'll rotate through them at dinner. If you are more than a 3-night cruise, you will also have a pirate night menu in there one night, and you may go back to a dining room if you have, if you have 5, 6 nights, even on the 4 nights, you'll go back to one of those dining rooms, but you won't have the same menu or the same show. Those are only usually the first night in there, not always, usually, but the first time you're in there is usually when you'll have the show night, could vary. And then the second night will be a second show or no show or pirate night on those. They are also open at breakfast and lunch. One of them will be open for breakfast and lunch. And you check your navigator and it'll tell you which one. So if you prefer a sit-down meal as opposed to maybe the chaos of the buffet or room service, you can go do a sit-down, order off the menu meal in one of those main dining rooms. Okay, next up on board is the buffet. The buffet on the first 4 ships is called Cabanas. It used to be Topsiders. It's now called Cabanas on all 4 ships. And on the Wish class ships, it's Marceline. So it's not one buffet like you stand in line and you go through the entire buffet to the end. These are food stations. So many people make the mistake of walking in and immediately stopping in the first line. Well, the fact is you may not even want anything at that first food station. So my suggestion is to bypass that line and go find a line at the food station that you're definitely going to want something to eat. Are a few things that are repeated, possibly, especially at breakfast. But either way, I mean, that first food station is often chicken nuggets and french fries. So if you don't want that, pass it. Take a look to see what's on that first food station. I like to go in and walk through and just see what's at each one because it should change regularly during the day or each day. And so I like to go see what's at each one before I choose which line I'm going to get in. They are open for breakfast and lunch. There are limited hours, so make sure you check, to see that it is open. Do you want to miss breakfast if you oversleep or something like that? So check the times, and they're open at breakfast and lunch. Sadly, they are not open at dinner anymore, and they used to be, and I really, really, really wish Disney would bring that back. No 2 ways about it. They need to bring that back. There needs to be a more casual option at dinner for people that want to go whenever they want to go. So Disney, bring back dinner in the buffets. And it wasn't even a buffet. Most nights it was a sit-down order off the menu, but it was quick. They were using it to train their servers, and it was, as I said, very casual, and it was open for several hours, and you could just pick when you wanted to go, which was great for flexibility. So, Disney, bring that back. Okay, continuing with our free food. Now, this one will have a slight mix of free and not free, or included and not included. But the pool deck or quick service food. Quick service in Disney speak is a restaurant where counter service. You walk up and you order something at a counter. The pool deck of every ship has several options for quick service dining. There are always chicken strips, hamburgers, French fries, and pizza. And then some of the other things will vary a little bit. There's usually some salads, some paninis, all different restaurants located around the pool deck. The chicken strips are amazing. Don't miss the chicken strips. And they're great for snacks. They're great for actual meals. Totally up to you what you want to use them for. Pizza is generally open the latest, so it's great for a late night snack. You can order a whole pizza if you were wondering. A couple of slices isn't enough for you. If you want to get a whole pizza to take back to your room, you absolutely can. You might have to wait a little bit longer, but it's a great option for those late night snacks. Don't waste it. Don't order a full pizza unless you're going to eat a full pizza or very close to a full pizza. On the Wish class ships, they added some neat ones. They added a barbecue restaurant, which is hit or miss for some people. I like it. I love the mac and cheese. It's very good. And they also added a cantina, like a build your bowl, almost Chipotle, build your bowl, build your taco, almost Chipotle-like in a lot of ways. And they went back and added, it was so popular, they went back and added that to the dream and the fantasy as well. So great options on the pool deck. Check the hours. The hours are crazy at times. There are times where the pool deck food will close right at 6. And so that means if you were waiting to have it for dinner, you need to make sure you're up there before 6. There are some that will stay open. And as I said, pizza is open very, very late, although it sometimes will close for an hour or so while it resets. So check the hours if you're making plans to eat there or plan a meal around that. There's also the ever popular unlimited soft serve ice cream up top there on the pool deck. That's totally free. You can go back as many times as you want. Well, there may be a little bit of judging, but no one should be judging how many times you go back. Soft serve, and they will change the soft serve flavors periodically. There's pretty much always vanilla and chocolate, but they will change out to some interesting flavors during the week too, so you can keep an eye out for that. Up on the pool deck, there are also some food that you'll pay extra for. It's pretty obvious, so don't worry about walking up to, the pizza counter and paying. It's not at the pizza counter. There are some other restaurants that are marked with prices. And it's just one, like Wheezy's, Freezy's, or it was Frozen. The name's escaping me on the other ships, but it's got alcohol usually, as well as some specialty like Dole Whips and things like that. You will pay extra for those. There's also a sweet shop on board most of the ships, which is ice cream and some homemade shipmade treats on board. And those do have a cost, and they're very clearly marked. You'll know it when you step inside that store. Stay away from that store at all costs if you don't want to spend extra money, because you're going to have a hard time getting your children away from these bright, vibrant spaces with delicious looking treats. The sweet shops also have a very fun sundae. It's a large sundae that'll come in some kind of souvenir container, like a car at Penelope's or a bus from Jumbo's, and you can buy those anytime, and you can have them delivered to the dining room, which we've done before, where we added it. We bought it, and then we said we wanted it for dinner that night, and then we just had to let our servers know when we got there that we were expecting ice cream to come in, and it was delivered right at dessert time with everything else, and it was a fun way to have an exciting dessert that night. Extra exciting. There are some snacks scattered around as well that are free, and those are at Cove Cafe on the first 4 ships, not on the Wish class ships. The Wish class ships do have a Cove Cafe, but there is no food there, and it only has specialty coffees and whatnot, and there is a price for those. Also, Vista Cafe on the other ships, and there's some snacks out there during the day. There's charcuterie at night. There's some muffins in the morning and some croissants in the morning. There are some cupcakes and cookies and things like that occasionally. There's no charge for those. So when you see those glass counters full of those snacks in those locations, no charge for those. Okay, next up is room service. Room service is a great joy on board. My children loved room service. The novelty of picking up a phone and someone bringing you whatever food you requested, however many French fries you requested, and just offering them a gratuity at the end. It was so novel for my children, and they loved it. On many ships, other cruise lines, room service is not included. There is some kind of a charge for it. It's usually not a big charge, but there is some kind of a charge for it on most cruise lines. Not on Disney. It is free and included with a few very small exceptions. Now, when I say free, you do want to tip the person that brought it to you. And you can either have cash on hand to hand them, or you can sign something and you'll be able to add a gratuity onto the slip of paper. Sometimes I've seen they will try to walk out without having you sign it, and I always make sure that I ask so I can add a gratuity on there if I don't have cash for it, which will be charged to your onboard account. There are a few things that are not included, but those are marked on the menus. They are packaged snacks like soda cans of soda. Soda's free up on the pool deck and in the main dining rooms. But there is a charge for it through room service because they're bringing you an actual can, and some candy bars and things like that. Those are marked. So you'll be able to see very clearly what is extra and what is not. In the mornings, they have a continental breakfast, and you can order that the night before if you like to have it delivered at a certain time. Maybe it's your wake-up call in the morning, or maybe you want to make sure you get a good breakfast before you get off the ship. There's a little menu in the drawer at your desk that will have the list of what you can order, and you just hang it outside your door the night before you went to bed, and it'll tell you what time you need to have it out there so they can have it there in the morning, and you will select what time you would like it delivered at, a range of time, like 7 to 7:30 or 7:30 to 8, things like that. There's coffee and tea. Those are included, as long as you're not ordering a specialty coffee. Those are included, and they come in a carafe that stays pretty hot throughout. I have heard of people ordering coffee the night before and then drinking it the next morning when they wake up because they like to have it right away. So that's not a bad idea if you want to do that. And then lunch and dinner are pretty much the same, and you can find out what is there in the app. It will have a list of anything you can order. Order as much as you want. Don't be wasteful. Order what you want. But it's all included except for the gratuity. And big tip. There are also Mickey ice cream bars. And if you don't see them on the menu, they're there. Ask for them. They always have Mickey Mouse ice cream bars unless there's been a supply issue of some kind. Also, a lot of people, my children included, like to order all hands on deck before dinner. Bring it to your room. Some cheeses and crackers and grapes. It's a nice little appetizer to get ready while they like to eat while they're getting ready for dinner. Okay, lastly, upcharge dining. Upcharge dining on Disney Cruise. Upcharge dining is adult only, and there are 3 different restaurants, and they vary by ship. They are not included in the price of your sailing. Are a good, I hate to say they're a good deal. They are, and because when you've got free food all over, they are worth it. They are worth it to me. They are worth it to a lot of people, and sometimes they are very hard to get in. The food tends to be delicious, and it's a nice, quiet dining experience as opposed to the main dining rooms which may be quite loud because of the live show or the number of families with children on board. So they're a nice, elegant experience, and I try never to miss it when on board. I will be at one of those upcharge dining places. They do have dress codes. They are enforced. They're not crazy dress codes, but there are dress codes, and they change a little bit from time to time. So check before you sail and before you make reservations to make sure you can live with the dress code. There is also a cancellation fee. You are supposed to cancel 24 hours in advance, or you will be charged a fee for a no-show. The first one on the Magic and Wonder, they only have one, and it is called Pello. It's the original. It's an upscale Italian restaurant. They have brunch and dinner. It is $55 for brunch, and dinner has a $55 option. It's a prefix option. And so there are like 2 to 4 things on each course that you can choose. You cannot make any substitutions on that. And that menu will be $55. You can also take the 55, you can also order a la carte, and you can order whatever you want on their menu. That does not include alcohol. It does include non-alcoholic sodas, juice, milk, anything like that you would like. It does not include alcohol. You can add alcohol on if you would like to pay for it. And depending on your Castaway Club level, how many times you've sailed with Disney before, if you are Platinum or Pearl, so you've sailed at least 10 times with Disney, then you will get a free meal at Palo. Not just a free meal for you, it will be for every adult in your stateroom, whether they are Platinum or Pearl. they get to take advantage of your benefit there. So if you're doing lunch, it's just free brunch. If you are doing dinner, you can get the $55 prefix meal, or you can take $55 and apply it towards an a la carte meal, which is a great option if you want a little bit more flexibility. Palo is on every ship, but on the Wish class ships, it's called Palo Steakhouse. Very similar, has some of the exact same things that we know and love, maybe just a slightly more options for upgrades for steaks. So that's the biggest difference I could tell you. Really, pretty much the same experience, the same great experience on every ship. On the Dream and the Fantasy, they have, in addition to Palo, they have a restaurant called Remy. And the Remy is a high-end French experience. It's got a Michelin star chef, or a menu created by a Michelin star chef at least. And they have brunch and dinner. They also have a dessert experience sometimes. Dinner is $145, brunch is $85. And that does not include gratuity. Also does not include gratuity, those Palo prices that I gave you. It does not include gratuity, does not include any alcohol that you wanted to add on. Although there is one free alcoholic beverage at brunch, at both Palo and at Remy. It's pretty set menu. There's not a lot of options there. They've worked very hard on this menu and it changes seasonally, but it's pretty set. So you're looking at high-end French cuisine, and if you're not a French food person, you're probably not going to be real happy there. Having said that, I'm a particularly picky eater, and whereas there are not a lot of foods on that menu that I enjoy, I love the experience of Remy. It's just an elegant, wonderful meal. And so I sometimes will pay to do it, even though I may not eat as much as everyone else at my table. On the Wish class ships, there is a high-end French menu or restaurant as well. It's called Enchanté. Enchanté currently only has lunch and dinner, and lunch and dinner are essentially the same thing. Same price, $145. It's basically the only real difference is the time of day. Maybe even a little bit less of offerings at lunch, but still pretty much the same experience. One's during the day, which I do love with the beautiful views and of the water and everything there. They sometimes have had a dessert experience, which was great. They haven't had it for a while. You never know if and when it's going to come back. I hope they do bring it back because I thoroughly enjoyed that. But Enchanté, very similar experience to what I just described as at Remy. It's a very limited select prefix menu, and if you are not a big French food person, it's probably not for you unless you're just in it for the experience. And as I said, there's food all over the ship. So if you walked out hungry because you didn't like it, you've paid a lot for your meal, but you can go find food very quickly if you're still hungry. I would like to say all three of these restaurants can be a very long experience, especially Remy and Enchanté, but I've had some super long menus at Palo and Palo Steakhouse, super long meals at Palo and Palo Steakhouse as well. They don't want to rush you. If you are in a hurry, like you want to make it out in time for the show that night or something, let them know, and they will try to speed things along, but they don't want to rush you. They want this to be a slow-paced, relaxing meal, so they can get quite long. So just be aware of that before you choose to eat there. And that's it for dining on board. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, let me know in the comments.